It's something so amazing that it's difficult to know where to begin. Human intelligence separates humanity from anything else in nature. Nature is as beautiful as it is brutal. The modern world puts a divide between us and nature. But nature is where humanity and all other life came from. Nature's harsh realities are necessary for an organism to collect and store energy more efficiently than its neighbors. Within a species, sexual reproduction creates genetic variations, and the variants which are most favorable for survival will be passed down to offspring. This natural selection is inherently self-interested, either for the organism itself, the organism's family, or the organism's tribe. In nature, an organism does not show compassion to another outside of their tribe. Humanity was no exception. Providing food, water, and shelter for you and your kin was a requirement for early humans to survive. Humanity separates from other forms of sophisticated life in the size of their large brains, especially in relation to the size of their bodies. Complex language, tools, and controlled fire were the foundation for an intelligence that would go on to prove that a big brain beats the strength of a polar bear, the quickness of a cheetah, and the might of an elephant. This problem-solving brain laid the groundwork for civilization through the invention of specialization of labor. Before specialization of labor, a person's time was divided between all the tasks necessary for their survival: gathering the wild plants, hunting the meat, sourcing all the water, maintaining a shelter, and keeping the fire going. Let these pie charts represent a group of 5 people. Specialization of labor is the idea that instead of having every human do all the things necessary for survival, a group can combine forces and have each human focus on one particular thing, then share their production among the group. The sum of what a single person could produce was greater when they specialized on one thing than when they divided their time amongst all of the things necessary for survival due to the development of an expertise, making specialization of labor evolutionarily advantageous. At this point, human labor was absolutely necessary to sustain life. There was not time for humans to explore passions or creativities unless they had evidence that they would contribute to survival. If a human did not work to contribute a basic need, they would not be entitled to the production worked for by others in the civilization. Thus, during early human history, a creative lifestyle was naturally selected against. There's a quote explaining the early stages of human history. Hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. As specialization progressed, technological advancement opened the door to some amazing innovation. For example, take the invention of the wheel. Any human in charge of transporting heavy loads now had a method for reducing the required human labor. Human labor was still absolutely necessary to achieve the work, but the human had more time available for creativity or to work other tasks. Innovation created surplus, and humanity realized the necessity for a political economic system to manage the complex societies being created. Many were tried with varying degrees of success until one which, through harboring innovation better than any political economic system before it, would dominate the world: capitalism. Equipped with the innovative strength of capitalism, humanity entered the Industrial Revolution, a time of major technological improvement. Humanity had a dominance over all other life forms and would take advantage of the unlimited natural resources at their disposal just as any animal would, because humanity obeyed natural selection. and all other animals were competing for the same resources. Humanity was naturally motivated to take as many resources as possible for themselves. Humanity's form of natural selection was a bit different, as society had laws which took away the brutality of nature. However, just like in nature, self-interest or greed was selected for, and those who were most greedy were better able to make their own money, to raise their own children, and pass down their own ideologies. This was the way it had to be, because human labor was still mostly necessary. But the tremendous innovation humanity was experiencing launched an amazing, powerful, and potentially dangerous outcome of innovation: automation. Automation, just like most things, is gradual. The first sniff of automation does not eliminate human labor. Instead, it means less human labor is required for an equivalent or better product. In early stages of automation, the effect is barely noticeable. During these times, even if there were people that could foresee that automation killing jobs meant capitalism could no longer work on its own, it would not be politically savvy to advocate for a solution that would not go into effect until advanced automation is developed. But when advanced automation arrives, a political economic change is absolutely necessary. Humanity needed natural selection of self before automation, along with suppression of passion for those in the working class, for the ability to innovate. Capitalism was the means necessary to introduce automation and an escape from natural selection. Natural selection brought humanity a brain which could create new ideas at a faster rate than natural selection itself can. Proof: humanity can imitate natural structures in our own inventions by incorporating nature's inventions into our own human products. Natural selection develops incredibly complex products, but it takes thousands to millions of years for a noticeable change in most cases. Meanwhile, humanity has developed rapidly, especially during the last century. This rapidness was quantified with Moore's Law. After the first integrated circuit was made in 1958, Gordon Moore noticed that the number of transistors on an integrated circuit doubled approximately every 2 years, a trend that drove rapid and exponential growth in computing power and efficiency. These increases in computing power led to early, basic forms of automation. An ATM, introduced in 1967, was an elite employee for banks to hire due to their low salaries, the cost of electricity and maintenance. Early ATMs could handle deposits and withdrawals with expert precision, but were no help whatsoever if you wanted to do any other bank-related service. These automated teller machines meant that the job of a bank teller had entered the automation spectrum, but was only at the very beginning. Banks still had a large necessity for human labor, with bank tellers still necessary for more complex interactions. During these times of rudimentary automation, the number of bank tellers per branch were reduced, and it was cheaper to operate a branch, meaning this early form of automation resulted in more branches and more bank tellers. As time progressed, innovation pushed the automation percentage of a bank teller job further along the automation curve. Online and mobile banking, a more advanced form of automation than ATMs, were introduced, able to automate more complicated banking tasks and lessening the need for people to go to a physical bank. This more advanced form of automation resulted in the number of bank tellers and branches decreasing. Today, tellers are often involved in sales, customer retention, and providing more complex services which could not yet be automated. Early forms of automation tended to perform well at a single task or a few tasks, and would fail for any input errors, meaning human labor was still largely necessary. More robust forms of automation would require more computational power. Due to physical limits, such as the Planck length, the smallest possible physical length, transistors could not be made smaller forever, causing many to predict the death of Moore's law. But the number of transistors on an integrated circuit was never the goal. At the core, humanity has been incentivized through capitalism to increase their capacity to compute so that they can process larger data sets. Processing large data sets to make decisions is what the human brain does, so focusing efforts towards mimicking the human brain resulted in humanity designing neural networks artificially, setting humanity on a path towards creating artificial intelligence. Whereas the previous 100 years of traditional programming required a human to define every step, AI systems are trained on data to find their own patterns and solutions. And AI has presented its own version of Moore's law. AI agents often fail not because they lack knowledge for individual steps, but because they struggle to string together a longer sequence of actions without error. As task duration increases, the probability of failure rises for an AI system. So, a goal for AI developers has been to increase the AI system's ability to handle longer tasks reliably. A paper released in March 2025 showed, with strong evidence, that the length of a task an AI model can perform has doubled every 7 months since 2020. For example, while as of March 2025, AI could perform a 1-hour-long task, this trend predicts AI having the ability to perform a 16-hour-long task by 2028. Now back to the quote. Hard times create strong people create good times create weak people, and weak people create hard times. For a long time, this loop had been the way the world worked. Humanity evolved from having to beat out natural selection, as living and prospering in nature is no easy task. Natural selection is the hard times the quote refers to, and the humans who overcame natural selection used their brains to make humanity the most intelligent and most fit species on Earth. These are the strong people. Their intelligence, combined with the tribal instinct, led to civilization, specialization, and eventually surplus. These were the good times. If everyone worked hard on one task, the whole society would theoretically get the best of all of life's essentials. But a single human's natural curiosity may lead to them exploring other new ideas. This is what the quote calls weak people. The society that was developed would only work if each cog was a consistently working part, working on their one product and one alone. Any slowdown in output, or a mistake or accident, would have consequences felt throughout the whole society. When the person who was tasked with harvesting the carrots slacked off and left the carrots in the ground, the families of the village went the whole winter season without carrots, and the hard times returned. Natural selection would see the group select against the creative types who did not contribute repetitive labor, and the cycle would repeat. Today, with automation, we are encountering a new first for humanity. Automation can perform jobs which society previously relied upon human labor for with a significantly better output. If the output is better, people will choose it, and every technology lies somewhere on the automation spectrum. Once the underlying mathematical functions describing a repetitive job are understood, capitalism's optimization of technological growth will work towards replacing the human labor with automation which can perform the task at some defined level of significance better than a human. Many people are naturally inclined towards passions in their lives which are not their current job. Humans are naturally curious and creative from the time they are a child, and are so because of the brains that made their species so dominant. But most people have to give up their passions because of some realistic issue to work a repetitive job and avoid becoming the weak person in the cycle. When people are passionate about what they work on, they take care in delivering the best output. Repetitive jobs should be done by a brainless, automated machine. We should save human brains to be working on what they do best, which is being curious, creative, and developing new ideas. As such, our quote should be adjusted to account for automation. The cycle repeats countless times until automation is developed, allowing people to work on their passions. The quote stays in its original form for many iterations until, eventually, it becomes, "Hard times create strong people create good times create automation, and automation creates impassioned times. Full stop." Humanity finds itself at a crossroads, the point where a species has the ability to automate repetitive jobs. There are two paths humanity could now take, one with a UBI, one without. A UBI would help everyone, whereas no UBI helps the ultra-wealthy. A UBI would solidify capitalism as the means necessary for humanity to adopt a universal standard of living. No UBI would see capitalism destroy the free world and enter a Blade Runner type situation with the ruling family on top in control of all resources. A UBI would promote a life of creativity and allow humanity to escape natural selection. No UBI would affirm the Great Filter. The choice is yours.